The impeachment hearings don't matter. After everything is said and done, I just don't think it matters. So I made this video as an addendum to my main channel video where I talked about the impeachment kind of backfiring on the Democrats, potentially proving Trump right. But I want to point out, after all of that, I think everything is happening. Like, the Democrats are doing all of this just to signal to their base they're doing something. And in the end, it won't matter because conservatives are going to defend their position. Democrats will defend their position, and the media is going to just cycle rage bait in an effort to get everybody to click. Now, I firmly believe that in the half-an-hour video I just made on my main channel, I did break things down to the best of my ability as to why I think this is ultimately bad for Democrats. There's so many reasons. Like, first of all, we know Trump's not going to be impeached. I'm sorry, he may be impeached, but we know he won't be convicted in the Senate. In which case, why do it? Why pull off some of your top 2020 contenders in the Democratic primary and force them to go through a trial? Why do any of this? In the end, I think they don't care whether or not people change their mind. They think people are entrenched. We've seen increased polarization. So I've got two stories for you that I really want to break things down. I want to recognize this, and I want to go through these different assessments of what's happening with impeachment because it's important that you don't just watch me talk about my feelings. So when I make a video saying I think this is backfiring, I want to show you what other outlets are saying. And I encourage you to go watch those other outlets because my opinion's my opinion. There's probably a bunch of stuff I missed. But here's what I think's happening. We've known for a long time, we have this story from Axios going back 2018 about about the radicalization of people politically. And everyone wants to blame something or another. But in the end, all that really matters is people are radicalized. I mean, we want to try and figure out what's causing this and get to the root of the problem. But it's just tribalism. So no matter what happens, all of these hearings are pointless. The Democrats and the left-wing media are going to say exactly what they want to hear. The right-wing media is going to say exactly what they want to hear. And then you have me, where I probably fall somewhere slightly in the middle with my perspectives more similar to a lot of conservatives simply because I'm a moderate. And the left is so far away from moderates and conservatives. Moderates and conservatives tend to have more in common in their worldview. But I think I laid out my case, right? They're doing all of these things that are ultimately bad for Democrats. So how could this possibly make sense? Of course, Fox News is taking it one step further, saying, a glorious day for Trump and yada, yada. But I want to read you this story from Axios. Impeachment's dueling echo chambers, and show you just how, if you're watching just one of these outlets, including just watching me, well, then you're not getting a balanced diet, okay? Some of these outlets are going to spoon feed you complete and total BS. And that's what I was showing you in the main segment. But ultimately, you can't just eat pizza, man. I know pizza tastes good. You might like watching my stuff, but you gotta go get your veggies somewhere else. You gotta maybe take a break on the pizza, try some, Thai food. So if you're only watching me, you've got to, I want to highlight that. I want to make sure I can point out that you've got to mix things up. Check this out. CNN says, key witness reveals staffer overheard President Trump asking Ambassador Sondland about investigations. That seems pretty straightforward. What does that ultimately tell us? A whole lot of nothing. Fox News says deep state against Trump from the start on Russia. Well, they're taking the deep state route. But I think there's a fair point to be made in that the New York Times and other outlets have pointed to a deep state. I also think it's important to clarify because a lot of people get mad at me when I say it's not a conspiracy. No, it's called a standalone complex. When a bunch of people do things at the same time and it looks like it's connected when it's just not, it's not. You have a ton of people who have this fake news resistance mentality because they're being fed complete BS from outlets like MSNBC or Talking Points Memo or the Young Turks. They're living in its delusional reality where they think fourth-degree hearsay is admissible evidence proving everything. Well, then they're going to go nuts and they're going to believe it's just they're living in a world of nonsense. Let's read a little bit more. They say the story, MSNBC's Chiron was testimony on first day of impeachment hearings ties Trump to Ukraine pressure. Also meaningless. Although the point I was making before about the deep state, well, no. Let's move on. The story of the first day of public impeachment hearings varied dramatically Wednesday based on where consumers get their news. The absence of shared facts and narratives on TV and online will make it hard for either party to make its case stick. So the Republicans win, period. On the right, conservative media doubled down on the narrative that Republican questioners like Jim Jordan and Devin Nunes crushed Democrats' main arguments. Oh yeah, because this is how it always goes down, right? I did a discussion with Sam Seder, and sure enough, the left was saying Sam Seder destroyed Tim Pool, and the right was saying Tim Pool destroyed Sam Seder, and I'm like, dude, we had a conversation, man. We agreed, we disagreed. Neither of us knew everything, and we had a conversation. And I thought it was a good conversation. And that's what needs to be happening. But instead, everyone's like, yeah, like claiming they won. It's like people, you know, it reminds me of that image of two people looking at, there's a 6 or a 9 on the ground, and they're looking at it from different directions. On Fox News, Hannity opened his 9 p.m. hour saying it was a great day for the U.S., for the president and for the country, and a lousy day for the corrupt, do nothing for 3 years, radical, extreme, socialist Democrats. Whoa. Okay. And their top allies known as the media mob. See, that's technically the truth. It's just very bombastic. Here's how I'd put it. You have Democrats who are floundering and struggling, and this is their last-ditch Hail Mary effort to try and win back some power. And yes, many people in the media support that narrative, as I showed you in the main video. Online, the top story on Town Hall just after impeachment hearings concluded read, "It looks like the star witness in Trump-Ukraine impeachment effort just torched the Democrats' narrative." Breitbart homepage Wednesday evening shouted, "Democrat dud." But those are, that's reality, man. I mean, look, they're hyperbolic. They're exaggerating. But that's what's, listen, when you hear that there's 4th-degree hearsay, find me a story where someone was convicted on 4th-degree hearsay. I'm sure maybe it happened at some point. We're talking about the president, where there's going to be scrutiny on top of scrutiny, and you've got, you know, Republicans versus Democrats. This is nuts. There's literally nothing here, but two people told us, even NBC said no bombshell. There's nothing of substance here. On social media, the most popular posts from right-leaning outlets also highlighted this dynamic, according to social analytics company Newswhip. For example, the most popular story from the Daily Caller was titled, "I've seen church prayer chains that are easier to understand. Jim Jordan eviscerates impeachment process." And now for the left. MSNBC, Rachel Maddow opened her 9 p.m. hour saying that the hearing was unprecedented and that Taylor's testimony offered new, detailed revelations about the actions of the president and him directing this scheme personally. What? You mean the president was concerned about corruption and was looking for an investigation, and 4th-degree hearsay is your new revelation? That's just not reality, man. You don't have to like the president to recognize that's insane. The top story on Vox read, Bill Taylor dropped a bombshell in his impeachment hearing opening statement. Huffington Post, the banner story read, Taylor bombshell, damning Trump call. Nobody has direct knowledge of a phone call or what was said, and it could be as simple as Sondland saying, never happened. Okay, there you go. It's ridiculous. You know what, man? They like to claim the right is living in a fake news alternate reality. You know, Brian Stelter talks about the right-wing media machine. It's like, dude, we saw his tweets about the ratings. You guys, I don't know what you're talking about. There was no bombshell. Even NBC News said no bombshell. You live in a weird, freakish, you know what it is? It's like I said. This is what gets clicks. Bombshell. Someone will click it, and they got to make sure they frame it just right so it sounds more damning than it is. Revelations of a new phone call. Actually, it was a guy heard from his staffer who heard the opinion, who overheard Trump on the other end of a phone call, which he wasn't on, which means maybe it wasn't even Trump. We don't know. That's not admissible evidence, man. On social media, the most popular story from left-leaning news aggregator News and Guts was titled, Ambassador Taylor delivers damaging new evidence against Trump. No, he didn't. I mean, it's okay. Technically, it's evidence. I guess it's fair to say, but it's not damning. It's not damaging. It's enough to say, let's reach out to this aide and see what they heard, and then ask Sondland himself. If Sondland comes out and says the president was talking to me about investigations, how is that news? In the transcript, Trump asks for an investigation. It's you know what, man? We live in a parallel reality. Even live coverage of the hearing acquired a partisan overlay. MSNBC labeled Bill Taylor as a top U.S. diplomat who testified he had a clear understanding, aid tied to probes. Fox said President Trump dismissed Taylor as a never-Trumper. Now, Taylor was a top diplomat. They say, be smart. The echo chambers on social media are ones users build for themselves by choosing who to follow and befriend online. The echo chambers on TV are prefabricated by cable news networks trying to amass ratings. Together, they lock in partisan narratives and lock out conflicting information. Full stop. Completely correct. You would do yourselves, all of you, a huge favor by making sure you go and watch conflicting news. I always recommend someone like David Pakman, and boy, do I disagree with him on a lot of things, but he's like a go-to, straightforward guy. And the reason I say Pakman, because even though a lot of people I know who watch me are going to be like, Pakman's lying, it's like, they say the same thing about me, dude. They say I'm wrong, they say I'm stupid, they say I'm a liar. And so I noticed that a lot of the coverage David and I have kind of oppose each other in that way. And I think he's a good dude. Known him for a while, talked to him periodically, and I think we disagree, and that's perfect. Go see what he has to say. And not just him, there's other people. Brian Stelter recently said to avoid the spin, tune out, Fox News and the right-wing spin machine. No way. The opposite. Go watch Steven Crowder. Go watch David Pakman. Watch the Young Turks. Watch Brian Stelter. Watch as much as you can. I know it's difficult, but here's what I'm trying to tell you. The reason why I did this segment, I know it's not the most sensational, bombastic thing. It's not going to get the most clicks. It's probably going to get very little views, but I have to say it. After that video I just did, I have to say, I look at MSNBC. I look at Talking Points memo. I point these things out that they're claiming hearsay about a potential phone call that we don't know anything about is proof positive. It's evidence of clear wrongdoing, and that's not the case. So I think I'm correct in saying, hey, look, it may be true, but right now we don't have any evidence. What we do have is some clear questioning about Hunter Biden, and one of the witnesses testifying, yeah, we probably need to look into what these companies were doing and these prosecutors, in which case Trump may have been right. So then if we're predicating everything upon that statement from George Kent, then it stands to reason from there, Trump should be talking about investigations. But I gotta say, man, if you're watching mainstream left-wing media like CNN or otherwise, I know Fox News is pretty mainstream, but if you're watching these more left-leaning channels, they're misleading you, right? If someone told you, remember how your friend, let's say you had a friend who convinced you that someone stole your wallet, and they said, "Yep, damning new evidence, implicates so-and-so in stealing your wallet," and then I said, "Hold on." What he's saying is he heard from a friend who was talking to one of his employees who overheard a phone call. Then you'd be like, wait, what? How am I supposed to figure out who took my wallet if that's the case? I look at all this and I say, well, you can certainly point to the right being super bombastic, media mob, radical, extreme, socialists, Democrat dud. It's like, okay, guys, calm down. You're already winning this one because you're more likely to be correct, but but I get it. If you're going to watch a right-wing show, they're going to give you all those, haymaker smears and slams and bombastic statements. I'll tell you what. If you're watching left-wing media, they're lying, okay? Now, look, I can say the same thing about Hannity calling the Democrats radical, extreme, socialist Democrats with their top allies known as the media mob and say it's not true. These Democrats like Schiff and Pelosi are not the radical, extreme socialists. There are some you could say that, but that's an opinion. Okay, that's an opinion, and he's allowed to have it. Okay, if he wants to call someone a radical, extreme socialist, I can push back on that. But if MSNBC is going to say new revelations with damaging new evidence, and these outlets are going to claim it's directly implicating Trump, that is factually incorrect. So I may be wrong. That's just my opinion. I think I'm doing right, but everyone thinks they're doing right. So check out other channels and see what they have to say. Break the echo chamber. I got a couple more segments coming up in a few minutes. Stick around. I will see you shortly.